Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us for the last session today. The last session, we will be speaking about parking and urban mobility use cases. Jan Hazelbauer will be running the chat, and Tobias Ekberg from Observit from Sweden will be joining us, as well as Jan Gruznik from SquareTech Poland will be joining us as a guest on the panel today as well. So thank you for your time. Jan, over to you.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Clinton, for the intro, and thanks, guys, for joining us today. When the topic is parking and urban mobility use cases. When we think about cities of the future, we often imagine autonomous vehicles, flying taxis, smart mobility hubs. But at the end of the day, it's always pretty simple. Every journey starts, with a parking. Where to get your car, where to park it, where to leave it when you are not driving. I also remember many discussions with the cities. They are like, name your issues, name your challenges, name your problems. They always start and end up with parking, and or in general traffic. But when it comes to the topic, it's always parking. So it's something which is very, very important, very vital for every city, and that's why we also are focusing on that in our today's panel. To unpack these opportunities, I'm joined by two experts with deep experience in the space. Tobias Ekberg from Observit, who brings valuable perspective on how technology is reshaping mobility strategies at scale. Observit is doing mostly, basically, projects around public transportation, fleet management, and this stuff. So it's like very close to urban mobility, or very, very close connected. Jan has great experience with starting with sales, working as a sales engineer in. It was not your start, I know, but that's where I met you, sales engineer in Access.
Right.
Then switching to other companies, but always very close to us, always very close to ANPR, to city deployments, sometimes parking deployments, access control. So I think, we have chosen well. We've done a good choice, and let's deep dive to the topic. Parking sounds sometimes maybe boring. Until you realize it's like really everywhere, and it's this topic, as I've mentioned. Every city is really sometimes annoyed, sometimes forced to solve. As said, maybe sounds boring, but are there any exciting use cases, or unexpected, or very, let's say, innovative you have met, you have seen in the last time? Maybe you can share even like your experience from your projects, some requests from your customers. Is it always so boring, or is there a lot of space for innovation? Tobias, if you want to start.
Yeah, I could go first. So I see a lot of interesting things, and especially it always collides with some type of challenges that is driving change as well. And I think from my perspective, maybe I'm not that hands-on with especially parking as maybe Jan or you from FF Group are. But if we look at the city transportation from a little bit broader perspective, a lot of cities have challenges with either they're going in the direction of trying to reduce the number of cars within the city, and that is some negative impacts of that, with less footfall traffic for the stores and for workplaces and things like that. And also we see a whole new line of transportation. I think it is different in different city, but both e-bikes and also like e-scooters is taking quite a big of a market share. And there are some use cases where they really try to focus on how could we achieve flexible transportation for all people. So either if it is a combination of a bus and e-bike trip, or if it is a combination of car and train, for example. So how could we collaborate and make it possible to have a lot of flexibility, but also cost efficient and environmental perspective in hands as well. So I'm seeing a lot of use cases where they try to really make use of the least amount of ground to make efficient parking, for example, but putting that in combination to having e-scooter rentals, having it close to train hubs and things like that. So maybe a little bit broader perspective on solving use cases more than really niched analytics use cases from my point of view.
Mm. Jan, you always, I remember all of our discussions, you were always curious about like new use cases. Is there something you deployed recently, like some innovative way, or something you have seen or heard from your customers?
No, mine is boring. I mean,
Really?
comparing to Tobias, mine is boring. You know, there's like the to achieve one thing and one goal always to like the access control very often. So we are talking mostly about the parking, but you want to be sure that you enter the field, the parking plot, and you will be able to go out from the parking plot. That's mostly it. But it should work with the 100%. All the time, you know, it doesn't really matter if it's snowing, raining, or whatsoever. So reliability of the solutions is quite mandatory, and this is very often, if you think about yourself or myself, that I don't want to take the parking this parking letter all the time when it's raining. I need to open my window and just press the button to get the tip. I mean, not the tip, but this piece of paper. It doesn't really help. So this is exactly what we are struggling with, and in the same time, we need to correlate this data with data that is entered by users, by drivers. And guess what? The not boring thing is very often that of course, cameras or systems can mix things. I mean, can be not necessarily broken, but not all the characters can be read properly. In the same time, drivers do the same thing. So they just simply forget or just misleading the characters, and we need to mismatch those things, those two.
Mm-hmm. I also remember, I'm not sure how much you were involved, but your company also in the SICO project, you basically had nice integrations, if I remember correctly. So it was like, for example, when a person registered for a meeting for the company through Teams, you were able to put that Teams meeting, integrated the license plate from the Teams meeting to the ANPR camera as for a whitelist, and basically
exactly.
when the meeting ended, so you know he was deleted from the whitelist. For me, that's just so innovative, so amazing, but basically that should be possible everywhere, but that's unique for me.
I mean, this is exactly the goal that we wanted to forget. First of all, it was exactly what Tobias said. It is about the whole environment. We were asked not to produce too much trashes or too much papers, and to be environmental friendly. ANPR, this is exactly the thing, because you don't need to produce anything. It's just simply an electronic. So of course it's not limited to ANPR, but because you provide so many data that you can we can work with further. But I don't want to elaborate with this. But from the law enforcement, it's completely different thing. The NPR is the last thing that you will search through. More this MMR. But with the parking, this is exactly about the license plate, because this is something that it will make the unique car to car, even though that you have the same cars, very similar, with the very similar license plates, right?
So I remember discussing this with Observit guys, with the buses, from the same series, exactly the same plate, just the last letter was different.
Exactly.
And it is challenge for license plate system, of course. Thanks for it. Like just to like my understanding what you were saying, LPR system has just to it just has to work, and the user should not even notice it. It just should open the barrier always, and you should you should not care. It should be there and easily working. Okay, let's jump to another question, which is a little bit connected with the future or with the hypothetically situation. If you could redesign city mobility rules from scratch, if you could, change something, what role would smart cameras and LPR play, and what would you ban immediately? So if the technology is there, it's not fully used, something is restricted, something is maybe not used fully, take the technology you have and decide what you would say change, what you would ban. Is there something like that? Do you have some such ideas?
Yeah, I think from my point of view, what I see in a lot of cities is that you maybe have, from an environmental perspective, the challenge with too many vehicles within the city, and you're doing different type of, or you have too many cars in the city, or maybe the problem isn't you have too many cars, you have problems with the flow of traffic and the flow of parking within the city. So a lot of cities are trying to either restrict or like make it very, very costly to drive, and also in some ways putting in place things that are doing it very costly for public transport as well. And I would say that a lot of cities, it would be very beneficial to try to work out how could we make certain that we have flexibility and utilizing mobility and especially efficiency when it comes to both traffic flows and also to parking flows, and make, even if there is a lot of moving parts, make those moving parts flowing better, so you don't get traffic stops, you don't get fully occupied parking spaces where you get queues outside, etc. So more focus on making automation and making the flow of traffic and parking better for everyone, because that will benefit the city. If you go too harsh on restrictions and how do you say, go after speeding, go after wrong parking, etc., you get less and less footfall within the city, which will impact local businesses, everything from stores to restaurants to office spaces, etc. So I think there is not only going after with a harsh stick on things, maybe try to get the flow to work better.
Jan?
What to ban? I would elaborate on what Dalibor said, like the 2 sessions ago. It was about the integration of the different systems. What to ban? Other systems. I mean,
you are not speaking about competition, right?
No. It's not about the competition, but really, about the banning. Still, we are somewhere in the middle, unless we have ONVIF, we have XML, we have like the many protocols to work with, but at the same time, it's very hard, or even harder, to be in the same time integrated. I mean, most of the vendors are trying to look on the access control systems. Just for an example, if you have the access control system, you're very limited, for example, with the ANPR, because it's already connected, right? It's sticked, it's IP, it's open. Well, it's open. So this is exactly what I would ban this approach, to be open, to be flexible, like Tobias said, because this is exactly what we what we are struggling with. Then on top, we need to create something like the kind of the cap. This is exactly part what we do at SquareTech. But truly speaking, from the end user perspective, well, it's an additional middleware to maintain. So I would ban it, although that it does make sense for my business, but you know.
I totally agree what you both have said. I mean, I was exactly as you have said. I was thinking about Dalibor's words a couple of minutes earlier. Exactly, sharing the data, making it more integrated. And look, it's not. I mean, the technology is definitely there. It's just the willingness to share. Like example, I remember like in the US, cloud is very much adapted. So technically, it's so easy to connect all the data and to share it, but it is such a big topic. Even police departments are not allowed to share between each other. But this is crucial to find a criminal. And I remember, SquareTech, your VMS Core project, basically, you are like somehow substituting a system which should be there, or the integration which should be there. You are just doing it for the client because it's missing. And I totally agree. Like unification here is something which would change the situation a lot and would help very much.
Yeah, I think one point to add to that topic is that it's always the devil is in the details. So there is a lot of different type of providers that say they are open and it's possible to integrate. But the challenge is that the integration part is too complex and it's too hard to do to make financial sense. So what we see, for example, within Europe especially, the adoption of something that is called IT4PT, which has a standard protocol within public transport on how to make data available. So, for example, in our use cases, it could be combining passenger counting data with ticketing data for validation. So there is a standard for how to share that, which type of format, etc. And I think those type of standardizations are lacking a little bit for a lot of exciting use cases, because you always need to do a integration between 3-4 different systems, and you need to do and develop that integration from scratch every time, and finding the right counterparty at the customer, at the different manufacturers. It's a hell of a task, and it's often too time consuming, too advanced. So having standard protocol to share data and information is key from that standpoint.
I agree. I would add one thing about about validation, because it's about the data and the quality of the data. Because having the different types of systems, so to speak, or different cameras that doing some kind of the analysis, very often we are processing, and this is exactly what we figure out based on our system. That we need to create additional level of the I would say qualificator or whatever, or just like the rating, because what we want to achieve is always 100%. Of course, it's very hard to do so, but it's to be close. And based on the different systems that we are processing, then based on your products, for example, like the was number okay right now, Data Factory. This is exactly additional layer that we can check if those data are correct, or at least they are not missing. So this is not only about the ANPR, but this is exactly what kind of the vehicle we are talking about. Because, starting from which is, well, it's head-on, but it's colors, but then we have the models, then we have the engine types, and so on, because we need to relate it with those. And then those data are sent to other systems, right? With the validation, with the ticketing, or whatever it is. But we need to be sure that those data are good quality. So this is exactly, or to use the high quality, or you need to do second round. so to say.
Yeah, I think like accuracy and what to measure, and basically this reliability of the data. That would be nice topic for one of the next sessions. Like, let me just add one thing we are now releasing, which is no plate detection. Like with that, if you are able to detect vehicles without plates, basically you are not missing a single vehicle. And there are many vehicles, even in Europe, moving around without plates. Even our test cameras here in the office, I was so surprised. Every day there are like more than 10 cars really with missing plate. So imagine what it will make for a police investigation, and especially I will bet at least one of these 10 cars is missing the plate intentionally.
Yeah, it is huge. I mean, it is huge for our clients. I mean, with the camera AI, it's just simply changed a lot, I must say, because first then we had simply license plates, and then we have the vehicle. Right now we have vehicle with some attributes, and one attribute is license plate, and this is huge change.
Yeah, but to be honest, also it's a lot of work to change all the post analytics, but yeah. We believe it's a very important thing and innovation. So that's why we have decided to go for it. Good, guys. Let's move a little bit forward and again to the future. We often talk about smart mobility in terms of vehicles or cars, but what about scooters, e-scooters? What about other let's say, what about bikes? What about even delivery drones or other robots, something like that? Do you see your systems adapting to that? Do you already are like thinking about it? Do you hear some requirements from customers you should already, let's say, consider drones, whatever, delivery robots, bikes, e-scooters in your systems, or it's still something from the future which is not really here?
Yeah, so
Tobias.
from our perspective, the only like, how do you say, future use cases we are working with is, especially due to the fact that we are a lot within public transport, it is that we are doing projects where we detect how many e-bikes, how many bikes that are put on the vehicle. So helping the authorities and the operator to understand the traffic flow and their needs and requirements for, how do you say, mixed travel, where they use the bus or the train for one part of the journey and how much they use the other type of vehicles for the rest of the trip, and getting a better understanding if, like, okay, today in the buses we only have, so you could take 2 e-bikes. Should we, in future buses, have the possibilities to maybe have a smarter way of getting those into the vehicle, so you could have 6, 8 bikes, because people are taking the car instead because they know there are no free space for e-bikes on the bus, for example. So those type of use cases are we working with, but nothing more exciting with detecting drones or something like that is in our near future, at least.
Jan?
It's with bikes or some other vehicles, not necessarily if we are talking about the cars. We used to use readers, and simply because there's like a lot of things we are very into Axis, so we get a lot of data from Axis itself about types of objects that were detected. But the readers, it's for example for this speeding or something like that. I mean, not the speeding with the law enforcement, but just only for statistics.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, it is something that we clearly see, for example, for the automation. Because next to it, once we did, you mentioned about the teams and all the self registration and so on. But the second thing is about the yard management system that also we deployed. And there is maybe a need or I have this need as well to have the opportunity not to only to read the license plate, or not only to get if it's big or small track, but to have this idea that is, for example, this is the waste that is going, and it should be, for example, additional information or the marked that those data are correlated or together. So that's like the one thing, that if you have taxi, then you have the taxi. If you have the UPS, you have the UPS. The more information it will be there, will be easier to automate or to create flows for such a vehicles. But in the same time, we clearly see that for the investigations, for example, for police and others, it is that, of course, we look for a vehicle, for example, but in the same time, they are not looking for a vehicle, but a person, right? So more we have their information about what happened around the road or in the road or next to this to the vehicle, exactly, it's better to ask, for example. So pedestrians on the road is bad, so we need to detect them. If we have the bikes that are around and you have the traffic jam or whatever, we need to detect them as well. More and more, it is something. It's not even mandatory, but there's a waiting on the pipeline. So this is exactly when I mentioned the second row of the detection. This is also additional thing to take the picture and to read as much metadata that we can describe as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like at least I have heard a lot of requests to detect bikes in traffic on a highway, or on like speedways. That's big topic, definitely. And like from our point of view, we need to differentiate them first from motorbikes, which are with the e-bikes and everything, it's coming closer and closer. And that's a challenge for us, but we have to deal with it. And also I believe like we'll be able to help with that task soon. Good. The next I would like to ask, I kind of have suspicion, but I'm not really sure. So I'll ask, both of your companies, or but both of your products actually deal also with mobile ALPR, right? What are the challenges, or what are the trends you see there? Because for us, it's still something new, but we hear more and more requests for it. And with the better the cameras are, the more is requested to use it when on moving vehicles. Is Observit using also cameras for mobile AMPR, and how it works? What's the use case? The same question will be for you if you are working with these use cases, and what's requested, or what's the use case?
Yeah, so if we look what we are doing a little bit today, and that is a little bit in the innovation stage, is that we use mobile LPRs on buses, and it is for column parking. So when you have spaces where you have buses parking after each other, we mount cameras in the front of the vehicle that do when the first bus parks on row 1, place 1, they read a QR code on the road, and they get the placement of row number 1, place number 1. And then when the next bus come and park, it read the number plates on the bus before it, and then it gets row 1, place 2, and so on and so forth. So you get a graphical interface, so you can see exactly where all the buses are being parked. And the large benefit for that is when the drivers come in the morning and going to pick a couple of hundred buses, they know exactly where the buses is standing. If we look more to use cases where they're really moving around within the city, We're not really there yet, but I would say it's more due to restriction from legislation perspective in the home markets of us, and also in the markets that we are currently working within. But we're starting to get requests, especially on detecting if there are other vehicles driving in bus lanes, for example. And there are a couple of other use cases that I think from a technology standpoint, the technology is there, but it is both regulation and maybe hesitation on how to interpret different legislation that is holding it back. But I think we will be seeing more and more of those use cases in the coming years.
Yeah, from my side with the mobile NPR, we have the different definition. Like the mobile means like the mobility, so you can just simply take it and put whatever it is. And it was already told, but I don't remember by who in the last previous session, I think, about the again AI, because right now in the past with the FF camera, you were expected to mount the camera in proper manner, right? With like the 30 degrees or something like that. With the camera AI, it's, of course, it's always better to have the proper approach, but it is not very strict like it was before. That means that we can, first of all, use different type of cameras, the different type of the installation, and not necessarily we need to mount the camera on top of over the vehicles, because we can easily read the license plate or detect the lack of license plates from the angle of the 50 degrees. I'm not telling that it should be, of course, like the 0 is perfect, but you know what I mean. And that's like the one thing, that we create a bunch of the mobile cameras that we can deploy everywhere in the city, outside city, or just simply automatically at once in like the 24 hours they are there, and they are communicated one with each other, because thanks to maybe it's not the cloud, but it's like the mesh topology that we are providing all this data decentralized, but in the same time we are very fast into going with a lot of information, like the 2 billions per second. So this is exactly what we are requested. And the second thing is maybe requested by our clients, that if you have buses, and if each bus has like the 4 up to 8 cameras, some of those cameras are simply facing the road ahead and on the back side. And this is exactly expectation. Like, okay, connect to the data factory or the number, okay, or any system of the NPR. Or the best of breed is, of course, like the data factory. But this is exactly the expectation that they would like to have by default in the cameras, like we have the object detection that is human, vehicle, or whatever, that plus MMR and ANPR. And this is exactly what we are putting in right now. The challenging is also about the costs, but this is exactly about the expectations in market. That if during in next 3 years, I expect that all cameras will have the license ANPR on board by default for free. For free.
But
Definitely,
Jan, if you run into any of those use cases again, please give me a call and I will help you out.
Yeah, for sure, Tobias. But this is exactly we were talking about the AI, for example. It was like a nightmare like the 8 years ago. Right now, every single camera has it. We have the metadata that in the same time, like the 10% of whole the stream that is comparing to the video, it's metadata. So we have like it's huge amount of data. The problem is that with the current VMSs, just cut off all those information. So you have the only video stream and you don't do anything with the metadata. And this is big challenge currently for the whole systems. That is the reason we, like the Observit, SquareTech, that we create such solutions to deal with this metadata that are very often just simply lost by the VMSs.
Yeah, totally agree. Clifton, mobile use case, this is your favorite one. Anything to add or anything to request from me or from from guys?
I just wanted to say, Jan, you and I should speak a bit more. Tobias, I know we've also spoken. What you're saying is music to my ears. I've been doing in-vehicle for many years, so it's a topic that's close to my heart. But, I think I'll add, so nowadays I've got to speak about mobile and now portable, right? Because, with a lot of the work that I've done in the US, we see that portable is such a big business. So now it's quite difficult. And then, to be able to decipher which is which, but point in case, the functionality that we're getting from Access, and obviously with the deep learning functionality has made both of those markets or use cases a lot easier to use and a lot friendlier and a lot more accurate. So I think that was a really good point from you guys, and I really like the point on openness. On access control, I couldn't agree with that anymore, because I think I see that often as well, where it becomes a sticking point when we want to sit with clients, and they want to utilize the data, but they just can't. So yeah, thanks for those points. Thank you, man.
This is like the one point. Maybe some other our guests will be interested. There is an app for ACAP. For Axis, ACAP, that produce the RS485 that you can connect with the any, I just underline it, access control system by OSDP, based on the FF group, and of course additional app. So you read the license plates, then it converts to the RS485. Then it's converted directly to the OSDP and directly connected to any access control system. So no Vigant, everything just as should be. I wouldn't say it's for free, but we'll manage.
It'll get there, right?
What's wrong with you? You have said for free already for the second time. Yeah?
This is exactly the expectation. There's like it should be for free. Simply, everything should be for free. It is for free. Yeah. But you need to pay for it.
we see you are speaking with clients a lot. but yeah, you are right. Also with the future, definitely a lot of technology which is paid and which is like addition or plug-in or add-on today will be one day by default installed on the camera. These AI analytics basically sitting on board of every modern camera are for free already. And with ALPR and, make and model, everything we do, we know it will come one day. That's why we are also working on other products. That's why we are, thinking about digital twins and trying to develop these platforms, because we simply understand everything's going forward. And yeah, even these precious we are developing so long will be one day maybe for free, maybe very, very cheap, like a commodity, basically available for everyone.
Yeah, make it not free, because it's very hard to sell something that is for free, really.
And I think on that note, we can close our virtual summit. Guys, many thanks for coming, for sharing your experience, your insights. I hope it was interesting for all of our listeners. It was fun for me. Definitely, yeah. We are tired. It's intensive, but thanks again to you, to our previous speakers, to all of our listeners, and yeah, we'll see you soon.